So now we come to the next lecture, and this is going to be on releasing negative feelings. I want to tell you a little story first. It was written by Dr. Rudolph Ballantyne in a book called Radical Healing. He was talking about his young son who had chickenpox and got into the issue of delayed versus instant gratification in a very healthy metaphorical way. His young son had chickenpox, and he realized there was something he could say to his son that just may give his son a sense of choice about what to do, because he noticed his son was actually scratching his face. And he said to him, son, you can basically do two things here. One is you can scratch your face to 10 to 12 days and the chickenpox will eventually be gone. Or you can not scratch your face for 10 to 12 days and the chickenpox will be gone. But there will be a difference. And a big part of that difference will be the fact that if you scratch your face now, or throughout those 10 to 12 days, you will end up with permanent scarring. Whereas if you leave it and just suffer from the itching for 10 to 12 days, there will be no scarring. So you see, sometimes we are faced with these sorts of choices, metaphorically and sometimes in very practical ways. But I want to talk about how to release some of these negative feelings, and there's a number of ways. One of the ways I've found is the simplest, easiest and most effective is a form of tapas, a tapas acupressure technique that was originally designed by Tapas Fleming, but Jane Wakefield from Vernon, British Columbia had an interesting extension to that, and it's a simple pose. It's a pose where you take both your hands and you just cup them around the ears this way. You don't press in, you don't squeeze or anything, literally you just put them around the ears. And these correspond to 5 acupressure points that are around the ears. And remember, one of the reasons we do these sorts of things is to make sure both hemispheres of the brain are integrating and sharing the same sort of information based on today. And that's what we're after. So that hopefully there's no conflict going on within, and that you see through the lens of today, but also through other people's lenses. And so this can allow you to move from confrontation or potential confrontation into carefrontation, where you're actively responding to a situation with the hope of finding solution or resolution. So I can show you how to release negative feelings using this same particular stance. So let's say you've got a particular unpleasant feeling going on. It could be anger, rage, depression, sadness, grief, any of those types of feelings. So we've talked about metaphor as well, but this is another way to utilize the body's innate wisdom, the mind's innate wisdom, the spirit's innate wisdom to work on your behalf. So what I'd ask you to do, whether you want to do this now or not, or note it, but it's not a bad idea if you have any of those feelings that you would like to move on, to shift. It's a good idea to just think about that for a moment. If you have specific feelings you can tune into, what I would ask you to do is tune into them. So you may want to close your eyes, put your attention on that, and actually go into the pose that I've just recommended for you. So you're in this pose. You put your attention on where the feeling is in your body. Maybe it's in your head, maybe it's in your stomach, maybe it's in your chest. And once that feeling is there, just allow yourself then, you're in this pose, to figure out where it is on you. Once you've identified where it is, tune into that place. Send your attention there. And ask inside for an image as to what that feeling would look like, if it were to look like something, and trust whatever comes to you, even if it's just colors or lines. And once you've identified what it looks like, I would remind you that that is peculiar to you. It's yours. You requested an image, you've been given such an image. Therefore, it means you can do anything you want with it. You can make it bigger, smaller, change its color, change its texture, absolutely anything you want. You can send it off into the universe, hand it over to your higher power, disintegrate it into billions of particles. So what I'd ask you to do is stay in that position and inside command whatever it is you want from that. Just determine what it is and then command inside that that happen. And just stay in that position until it's done exactly what you've commanded it to. And then after a while you should notice a difference. And then you can retune into that place and see what has changed about the feelings. Now you can also use other things to complement that. There's a thing called billboards, for instance. If you've got a number of triggers, it could be for anything. It could be for anger, for instance. If there are a number of triggers, you may want to identify each of them, put them on a billboard, just name them without being too specific. And once you've done that, you can use whole brain integration. You can use what we've just done here. You can use 3-spot tapping. You can use emotional freedom technique. All those things will help you move on and clean and clear and release that energy. Now there's also a thing called gamma eye roll for relaxation. It's where you take your hand and you place 2 fingers on the back of the hand between the little finger and the next finger, and you're going to be tapping there, but you can rest that and you keep your head looking forward for a moment and your head in one place, and you put your eyes only down to the ground. So your eyes are on the ground and you start tapping that gamut spot, or triple heat or triple warmer as it's known if you do acupuncture. And as you tap, you just very slowly raise your eyes, not your head, just your eyes. Take about 30 seconds and raise those eyes until you're looking at the ceiling. And what you may notice is a big difference in the way you feel, relaxation. Now it is said you cannot have a strong emotion while physically relaxed, and therefore there's another thing we can do. We can provide an internal command to relax, release, flop. I would call it the wet noodle exercise. So just think about that for a moment. If you were an actor and I asked you to play a wet noodle, and you literally did, and you flopped, you just relaxed absolutely everything like a wet noodle, you would not be able to have a strong emotion. You would be relaxed. And notice, observe your own thoughts without reaction. When you're in a responsive state, when you're in that state of observation, awareness, separation, you're able to respond rather than react. And then you've achieved both psychological and physical relaxation. And I hope you will attempt and do some of these releasing negative feeling exercises. I believe they can assist you on a day-to-day basis and clean and clear some of the stuff that may have been sitting there for a very long time.